Georgi, talking of hotels and tourists, the checkpoints checked on Fady Asly, who has a relatively new status now. He's in charge of the whole region at ICC. So we sat down with him for an interview focusing on ICC's endeavors in terms of supporting tourism worldwide and drawing FDI among some other topics, which we can get to know right now. I haven't had the chance to congratulate you on that. Now you're covering Caucasus and the whole region. Yes, the whole Central Asia. How would you compare Georgia, how it's doing to minimize this uncertainty that COVID-19 has brought to the region and to the Georgia as well?
You know, I mean, it's the same problem everywhere. It's not only Georgia. I mean, all the countries everywhere are suffering. Some countries are a little more flexible than others, but still, you know, people are avoiding to travel. There are complications. You need to do PCR tests, have vaccinations. It's the same everywhere. So yes, I mean, now we have Sophie Bokuchava, who was the ICC Secretary General previously. She's now the region coordinator. And she's based in Tashkent. And from Tashkent, we are covering the other countries of Central Asia.
So what are the main issues facing the region right now? And
I'll tell you now, our
challenges?
aim is to open the ICCs everywhere, in every country to open an ICC. Now, the issue is that everyone is looking for investments. Everyone is looking for investors. And every country is coming with like incentives and schemes to encourage investors. So there is a huge battle to attract investment in all the countries of the region, including Ukraine as well. When I think of Georgia, I think that Georgia really needs to make a huge effort and to change attitude. Because, you know, I mean, Georgia is like my baby. This is how I feel. And when I see the potential in the country and I see the reluctancy of the government to encourage foreign investors to save the economy, because nothing is going to save the economy besides foreign investment in the country. Real foreign investment, not reinvestments or Georgian companies domiciliated in other countries who are investing here. No, real foreign investments. So the government really needs to change attitude. They wanted foreign investors from the city of Lyon in France and north. They didn't want anyone south the city of Lyon coming to Georgia. And unless they change attitude, it's going to be, we're going to struggle a lot because there is a lot of competition.
I remember ICC had two very important initiatives. One was directed towards a freer movement of tourism. You were looking some app or some kind of the same rules for all the countries. Where did this initiative go? Do you have?
I'll tell you, we have an app that is a co-venture between the ICC and two private companies that is called the Aok Pass. This means all okay, Aok. And with this app, whenever you have a PCR, for example, or a certificate of vaccination, it gets into the system through blockchain. And whenever you reach a border somewhere, you have it on your phone. And there is a code, and it's scanned, and automatically you're let in. The issue was that to make sure that people who are traveling before they take the plane are healthy. Because, you know, the problem is that many people take the plane, they don't have a PCR, then they reach destination, and then they do a PCR at destination. But what if they are positive, you see? So that is the concept, and it started like in France, in Italy, in several countries. It's widely used now by the airlines.
Are you working with Georgian government also?
We inform the Georgian government, but you know, the Georgian government have other priorities now. So, I mean, it was maybe a little complicated for them, and so we're taking our time for it. We're not really pushing.
And another initiative was also with the Arbitration Court, ICC Arbitration Court coming to Georgia.
Yes, we were very enthusiastic about this. This was before We started the process a long time ago, but in 2017, we were engaged with the Minister of Justice, Ms. Sulukiani, at the time, and the government was very excited about it. And they signed a memorandum of understanding with the ICC Arbitration Court in Paris in 2018, December 2018, based on which the ICC Arbitration Court was willing to open a branch here. After that, there were, the situation in Georgia, what happened with the courts, very high-profile cases of businesses that were defrauded by the courts. And honestly, I got discouraged myself, and I didn't push it anymore. We just organized one training of judges. There was an ICC team that came here and trained the judges regarding arbitration and the private sector as well. But I thought that the time was not appropriate for it. That's why I did not push. Now, if there is a change of attitude from the government and they're really determined to fix things, then I'll be very happy to push for it, and I think that we can make it happen.
But the situation changed now because we see that in order for Georgia to get part of the tranche of for fighting COVID-19, European Union told the Georgian government that there will appear some conditionalities to that tranche, and one of them is reforming courts and also reforming state-owned enterprises and a lot of, but one central point of it is reforming courts.
To implement the Venice Commission recommendations.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think this is very good, and I think it should be more widespread. It is very regrettable that the Georgian government is treated like a third grader at school. I felt a little humiliated, to be very honest with you, when I saw the EU doing this. As a Georgian, I felt humiliated because, this means that they really look at us like incapable of doing the right thing for our own country.
Today we hear talks about further lockdown and the third wave of COVID-19. Do you think Georgia can sustain any large-scale or full-scale lockdown? And what is your point on point restrictions?
I'll tell you, to sustain, we can sustain anything. I mean, we can be under a nuclear attack, okay? I mean, there will always be survivors. But the issue is what would be the cost? You know that already the cost for the economy has been terrible in 2020. Our GDP, nominal GDP in dollars, decreased by 9.1% between 2020 and 2019. And technically, end of 2020, our GDP, nominal GDP in dollar, is at the level, is 3.6% lower than 2012. This means after 8 years, we are poorer than we were as a country as we were in 2012. Already the first 3 months of the year 2021 were very difficult. We are negative and will be in dollar much more negative than what we saw in lari, I mean the GDP in lari. So of course, if they're going to lock down, there will be tens of thousands who will lose their jobs. A lot of businesses that will close this time because, many businesses are standing on the edge after 2020. I mean, those who didn't close are on the verge of bankruptcy. And now will we be destroyed? We will not be destroyed because, we will at one stage stand on our feet, but it will take years to do so. And while the rest of the world is moving quickly, we are going centimeter by centimeter, and that's a real tragedy.
Would you say that vaccination should be the main priority of this government at this point?
Vaccination is the key to a normal life again. And it's regrettable that the government did not advertise vaccination the proper way. It's very regrettable that there was this allergic reaction with this lady who deceased, unfortunately, the very first day of the vaccination, and it had a terrible ripple effect on the population. They were very scared, and I understand them. But the government needs to explain to people that they have 350 times more chances choking, dying while eating their food than dying from vaccination. And I got vaccinated, one of the very first Georgians to get vaccinated, and I think everyone needs to get vaccinated because the risks of getting vaccinated are nothing compared to the risk of catching the virus. And unless everyone is vaccinated, or at least 70% of the population is vaccinated, we will be condemned to remain poor for a very long period of time because businesses will be closed all the time with lockdowns, there will be curfews. We have to get vaccinated, okay? We have to get vaccinated. It's a necessity, and the government needs to do a lot of PR regarding this matter to explain to people that they will not die from vaccination. I mean, the chances to die from vaccinations are 1 in 1 million.
And my last question, not to leave everything so dark and negative mood, what could be the opportunities, not right now, but maybe when time passes, what are some of the lessons that Georgia can learn out of this pandemic?
Look, I mean, we all know that Georgia has a huge potential. We know that Georgia is the entry gate for the Caucasus and Central Asia. We know that the country is very beautiful. The people are hospitable. The opportunities in tourism are incredible. In the financial sector, they're incredible. In logistics, they are incredible. So the country has a fantastic potential, and that's why I'm always very angry, because I see this potential and I see how people in power put their own interests ahead of the interests of the country and of the citizen. So if finally the government will wake up, or we will have another government that would take responsibility and that would put the interests of the country ahead of their own interests, I think that Georgia can grow very quickly, very quickly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we have 10% growth a year in dollars, not in lari. So there is this potential. All that we need are people who care for the country and competent people.
We are BMG. Follow and subscribe for business and economics news.